Get ready to find your recipe for a successful real estate lifestyle from America's top expert here at Greenlight REI with your host, Lance Edwards.
Well, hello everyone, this is Lance Edwards. Welcome to this session of Greenlight REI, and this is where you're going to learn the successful real estate lifestyle, and we've got a really interesting special guest for today. This is an amazing man, Mr. Brian Fouts. He's with the Elevation Group, and his focus is on empowering people and training people on what I call taking control of your own personal finances and your own wealth creation by getting taught and empowered by the right advisors. And so I want to welcome Brian. Welcome to Greenlight REI.
Appreciate it, Lance. Happy to be here and happy to share what I'm doing right now. Well,
we were talking before we get started here. Let's start off, Brian. First of all, could you share? You've got a really interesting background. Would you share your background and how that's led to you owning the Elevation Group?
Yeah. So I started out pretty much the traditional path of creating wealth, which was go to school, get a job, right? Try to get good grades, and then save into a 401k, and hopefully someday down the road, you can live the good life in retirement. And that's how I started, because nobody in my family is an entrepreneur. Nobody are business owners. They're working for the government for the most part. And so that's what I did for years, for over 10 years. I was a construction manager, and I traveled all over the place doing that. And I realized after over 10 years of doing that I had literally no financial future. I was working in a cubicle. I hated what I was doing. And I realized that if I wanted something different in my life, I had to do something different. And so my brother Jake and I, we actually challenged each other. Let's go on a journey to become investors, to create wealth in our lives. And so that's what we did. We started learning, first off was real estate, single family is what we started off in, learning owner financing subject to investing, which is more complicated to start off in, but that's what we did. And that led us to learning about other strategies. So we started doing online investing. We started doing oil and gas, private notes, private lending, and that we started growing, having success. That led us to actually starting up our own private investment fund for family and friends, investing in bigger and bigger things. And we just learned, but there was a lot of lessons learned too, because we didn't have access to the right people, and we had to struggle. We had to find them. We had to save money and then spend a lot of money to get access to, be parts of high-end masterminds to learn their strategies or buy coaching programs. One of the first courses, by the way, I bought was $12,500 just to learn one strategy. And it was a success, but it was always a struggle. And so, and at one point we actually worked with a local advisor that lost us over $500,000 because we didn't know any better, right? Because we were learning. But that eventually led us to getting the right advisors, finding the right mentors, the right coaches, those that could actually teach us. But we had to earn our way into their circles, and it was not always easy. And that eventually led us to the Elevation Group. So that's right. I was actually a member of the Elevation Group before I became the owner. And I remember when I found the Elevation Group, or EVG for short, I was absolutely blown away, because all of a sudden I had access to expert advisors, this board of advisors that I didn't have access to before that. All of a sudden I could learn from them, work with them, implement their strategies in my life, and it changed me. And it's to the point that I was able to actually become the owner with my brother Jake of that same business. And now that's our journey. Our journey today is to continue that mission, to bring advisors to our community so we can all learn together.
That's super. Now, let's do a bit of a drill down, Brian. So what's the charter of the Elevation Group, and what's the scope of what you're covering with the Elevation Group?
So, our goal, our mission here is to basically uncover the secret strategies, investing strategies of the rich by accessing their advisors. But it's more than just that, because you can access them, but how do you implement it in your life? What's that process? Because you can go get access to how to invest into, $1 million strategy, but is that where you start or not? Well, usually no, it's not where most people start, right? And so we have what we call the 5 pillars of financial independence. And how that came about is that as we went through our journey, my brother Jake and I, we were studying, being mentored by successful investors and individuals, and we started seeing this pattern. And I saw the pattern in my own life as well, my brother's life, and I started seeing this pattern. I'm like, okay, I can see why this person is successful, but I can see why that person over there is struggling and has failed. or why this 9-to-5 worker cannot get out of his rut, even though he has access to the right stuff, he's struggling. And I started to see this pattern. And so we developed the 5 pillars that our board of advisors teaches. So we have people teaching different strategies that walks people through how to have success, build wealth in their lives by following a clear path.
All right, so that opened up some doors there. So to all these 5 pillars, so can you describe, is it simply the 5 pillars? What's the scope of that?
Yeah, so first we have, before we even go to the 5 pillars, we have what we call the foundation, which is how to think about money and actually create abundance in your life versus scarcity. So that's one that I had to learn the hard way. It took me years to figure that out, but I've been able to help people make that transition in, a matter of, days, because we now have that right information. So we do that with people, we help them do that. And then we have the 5 pillars. So pillar 1 is essentially where you start. You got to create that resource, that fuel, which is capital and revenue. And there's so many ways to go and find money in your life. There's 3 levels to that one. One, you can find easy ways to make money, which is keep more of what you already make. I mean, hell, it's your money, right? Keep it. And most people don't realize where their money's going. So find out where it's going and get it back into your pocket. Then we teach people how to learn a new skill that they can monetize very easily and very quickly to create, whether it's $500 or $5,000 a month, what's that one skill you can acquire? Whether it's real estate, small apartment buildings, whatever it is, what's that one skill you can go learn very quickly and easily, because $1,000 becomes $10,000 becomes 100. And then the 3rd level is more involved, where we teach people how to actually start their own business, how to buy an existing business, do other things where you can create massive amounts of capital and fuel. And that's pillar 1. And pillar 1 is where a lot of people get stuck, because that's where they stop, right? They'll go and do something different. They'll make some money and then they stop, or that's all they do. And they realize, oh, gee, what do I have now? I have a job, right?
Job.
I went from an employer to my own business, and now I have another job. And so that's where a lot of people kind of get stuck on, because they don't realize what are the other levels that you go through. And so like pillar 2, as an example, is where you take that capital, that fuel, and you make it go work for you. So make your dollar turn into $2, turn into $5. Put your money to work for you. Have your money making you more money. I mean, it's a phenomenal concept that a lot of people understand intuitively, but how do you do that? What are the strategies? And so we teach ways where you can just funnel your money into this account that's going to get you guaranteed returns for life, as an example. That's called elevation banking for us. How do you put your money to work and have it grow? Because when you do that, you're basically putting your money, on, supercharging it. So that's pillar 2. And so we have advisors teaching different ways for you to go do that. So how do you take $500 from pillar 1 and turn it into $5,000, $10,000, $15,000? And then pillar 3 is where you keep as much of it as you can and you protect it. And a lot of people will realize, that, hey, I have all this money, but my biggest expense is what? Taxes. Taxes is the biggest expense. How do you get it out of your hands and back into your pocket? It's your money, damn it. You should keep it. And I always get frustrated with people saying, oh, these people are getting so many tax breaks. Guess what? You can get them too. We will show you how to do it. And it's fun. When you win that game and you beat the IRS or you beat financial predators and you keep your money, it's an incredible feeling, because you all of a sudden have more money. And so we teach ways to do that inside there. We also teach business entities how to use different structures to keep more of your money and actually protect your personal assets. Because I've seen too many entrepreneurs lose their home, lose their family, and I almost lost mine too. I literally came within 5 days of losing everything I had because of a decision that someone else made for me, because I gave them the control. And so we teach people how to not let that happen. Because it's very, very important to me to make sure that your family is safe and protected. And then pillar 4 is one of the more popular ones, of course, which is how to take what you've built and acquire cash flowing assets, assets that are going to pay you and essentially free you up and create that income that allows you to become your own boss, quit your job, or even take yourself out of your business and acquire assets that pay you. So that's going to be obviously apartment buildings, real estate, oil and gas strategies, gold to silver strategies, options, other different strategies inside there where you can put your money to work in an asset that that's going to hopefully go up in value as well. That's pillar 4. I love that one. And so for our members, actually in our platform, we actually bring investment opportunities to the table, because there's so many things out there that you don't realize are available until you have the right access. And once you have the right access, you realize there are so many opportunities to acquire passive income. And then pillar 5 is we call it legacy. So this is where you take what you built, protect it, you pass it on, you make sure that it will last. But one of my favorite things we teach inside there is how to teach your kids to be entrepreneurs, or how businesses work. And I wish so hard that my family had done that for me, because it would have changed my life. You know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, first of all, I love the architecture, the way you got it set up. I mean, that's a great architecture. I would say, of all the clients you have, and let's come up here raising my hand because training to be an entrepreneur, because they didn't teach us this stuff in school. At least not at my school, Brian. None of this stuff was taught. And but of all their clients coming through your system, is there the most common thing they need to learn first, or a single most important thing they need to learn? Is there an overriding issue they've got to work through, or is it spread across a number of issues? Maybe it's not even a fair question.
There's probably a top 3, I guess I would look at, that people come into when they come into our platform and they realize, oh my gosh, they see all this, they see what we have, and they realize it changes their, I guess, call it not focus, but what they have to go do. Like, they want to go make money here, but then they come in and they see all this stuff and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this was possible. And so the first thing I think that happens is realizing that it is possible. That's a big shift a lot of people have, is that because a lot of people will see one strategy and they can't see the end result. They can't see it changing their life. But what we do is we say, hey, that one strategy combined with this will get you here. They can see it, and they realize that it is possible, because we will show them how to go do it. And so one of the first things is the mindset and that realization that, hey, I can do this. Yeah. That to me is exciting. When I get people inside here and I show them what they can do, and they say, hey, we're not going to show you 10,000 strategies. We're going to show you, 3 or 4, and you can, choose which one is the best fit. We'll show you which one is the best fit. They can see the path, and that is incredible. And they can see how they're going to get out of their existing rut and have that life they actually desire. And that's really what I get a big kick out of, is when they have that realization. And so that's one of the big things I see happening. The second thing is that there's a lot of things you can do out there, and most people are not familiar with a fraction of them, of what you can what's possible. And so what happens is they come in and they think, okay, I want to be a real estate investor, but that's a very broad term, right? It's a very broad term.
Right.
And then they come in and they see us teaching real estate, and they realize, my gosh, there's ways inside real estate to be an investor that I didn't even know existed. And they find something that really is their passion, that they're really excited about. Like real estate, it sounds cool because I hear about it all the time. Then they come in and they see, man, I did not even know you could buy small apartments. I thought that was only for high level individuals, but anybody can do it. And then they get super excited because they see that. And that's one of the bigger things I realized. And then the third one, the biggest one for me, that I see a lot of people that really latch onto is, you've heard the saying, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. We've heard that so many times. And that's what one of my biggest struggles when I was getting going was having to be around the right people, be coached, and learn from the right individuals. And it was difficult, right? You go to masterminds, you go to events and stuff, and it takes time and energy and money. It's time away from your family, all of that. That's what the Elevation Group is all about, though, is that we put people into a completely different arena with different individuals, learning from people that are going to help you grow, that are going to elevate you. So I call it's like your own personal network when you come in, your own individual community that is going to put you around the right people. And that is how you make a change, is being around the right people, learning from them, seeing what they're doing, and seeing where they're going.
Well, I'm in, brother. I believe everything you say is spot on. Because you're covering what I call there's the mindset of it. Then there's this, that's getting your head right in terms of seeing the opportunity. Then there's the skill set of it, learning whatever that strategy is. Then there's the community of support to keep that mindset right. I mean, I think you got a great architecture here with everything you're doing. So, all right, so you've got the Elevation Group, you got this great architecture, you're laying out and getting people on a path. I can see a plan, I should say maybe a plan where the context of everything. So are there some success stories that you can share of your students? So when I was on your website, I was seeing a number of success stories, or some of those that you could share here with our listeners.
Yeah, we got quite a few of those. One of my most recent individuals that I spoke with, his name's Adam, and he was an officer, worked for the local government where he was located, and he struggled. I mean, he was struggling hard because at the end of the month, he had no money left, no disposable income. He didn't know how he was going to take care of his kids or send them to college or any of that kind of stuff. And, their car broke down and they couldn't fix it, that kind of situation. He didn't know what to do. And so when he came into the elevation group, and the first thing he was like, I need to just, get a hold on my life, on my financial life and picture. So that's what he did. He learned that mindset stuff, and he looked at his current income he had, and he realized he had more money coming in than he knew. And so he saw some strategies on how to take that income and put it into his pocket instead of having it go out and just, be wasted. And so what he did is that was his pillar one. He got more money coming in all of a sudden, about $500, whatever it was. And then in pillar two, he put it into another strategy that allowed it to grow. And so that $500 became $1,000, became $5,000, became $15,000 all of a sudden. And it was growing. And then what he did is pretty cool. Then in pillar three, he actually created a couple of entities, business entities, and which made him even more money. He started an online business, an online networking business that was making money within 6 months, profitable. And then he used his strategy in pillar two to leverage into real estate. And so he bought, the first thing he bought was 2 or 3 real estate properties and fixed them up and then held onto them and rented them out. So he had also some cash flow. So all of a sudden his wealth was going up even faster and faster. And then he bought I think it was either a 2 or a 3-plex. So a small kind of, multi-unit building. And then I think he's on another one right now. And I was talking to him, and his whole life has changed. His mindset has changed. His financial future is completely different. He has income coming in, so he's not worried if he loses his job, he still has income coming in. He still has net worth and wealth being built. It changed his entire perspective of life. And, he's able to, have nicer cars. They go on vacation more with his family, that kind of stuff too, which is obviously what a lot of people are looking to have, is a better quality of life. And so Adam, had a phenomenal time doing this. It was a great journey for him to go through, and he's just building more and more wealth. And so, yeah, his great story, that great strategy there. And that's why he was so happy about, becoming a member and going through those steps. So
let me put this question. Is there when people are coming into the program or want to get started, is there, in your experience, Brian, a biggest mistake you're having to advise against, or a biggest issue you're trying to get them over? Is there a biggest mistake you've got to kind of keep guiding them back from? And tell me if it's not a fair question or not. But
well, the one thing I guess I look at it is that a lot of people, it's the mindset stuff. I don't like to talk about the mindset really, because sometimes it's not as attractive to people, but that's, to me, the mindset is of wealth and money is the biggest obstacle that most people have, and they don't realize it. And I was the same way, right? I had to basically break through that obstacle myself by myself actually. But when I did, I was happier. My life was better. I was more grateful. There was so much more abundance in my life because I started thinking differently. And you realize that as you go through life, as you go through your daily routine, there's so many things that are holding you back, or that are holding you down from having what you want in your life. And when you can identify those, take them out of the picture, or break them, as I call it, your life will change. It's amazing. It's incredible. And the other things, money, relationships, sex, wealth, whatever it is, will become more apparent and easy. And I don't want to say easier to get, but it's true, they do. And we've studied so many successful individuals and been around. I mean, we go to so many different events and we're parts of some very incredible groups of people, and they are different. They think differently. They talk differently. They interact differently with themselves. And if you want to be part of that group and have what they have and have the success, that's the first thing, is understand what's the difference and change it. And when you do, doors will open.
Again, I'm in, brother. I agree with you 100%. And for everybody that's listening that's heard me talk about mindset, and have been discounting what Edwards has to say. Well, listen to what this man has to say, because he's saying the same thing. And I agree with what you're saying, Brian. I think mindset is the unlocking key to it. I think it is the foundation in your architecture. And I think it's less sexy to people. I don't want that mindset stuff. I want money today. Then I'll do that mindset stuff. But give me the money today. But I think what you're saying is what I'm saying is it's the other way around. You got to get your head right. And it's contrary to the way we were taught to think in school, where we were trained, follow these instructions, stay within these lines, and don't make a mistake. Because the rules we get out here in entrepreneurship, making money, are different. Would you agree with that?
Oh, 100%, 100%. The rules are very, very different but it's, it's also the questions that you ask yourself too. And that's one of the things I love. I actually coach people on that first thing, how to transition from that 9-to-5 mentality to a wealth mentality. It's something I coach people on. I love doing that. But one of the things that happens quite a bit is people will send us emails and they will say, hey, I'm looking at this strategy. If it fails, what happens to me here? Or if I don't make money in the first couple of months, what happens here? Or this, and I'll respond and say, well, first off, you're asking the wrong question. You've already set yourself up for failure, because that's your focus. That's your focus right there, is failure. Versus asking the question of, how can I guarantee that I will succeed with this? What happens when I have, success in the first 2 months? What's that look like? That's the right question to ask. And it's all about the mindset, because people will get what you focus on, and they're immediately focusing on the negative things. Or someone came to me one time and said, hey, I went online, looked this thing up, and I saw these negative reviews. So I think it might be a scam. So if I buy into this, I was like, stop right there, stop. You've already made your mind up. Don't do it. You've already made your mind up, because the first thing they did was to go, do your due diligence, of course, always do that. But they went down the rabbit hole of the negativity. Yep. I was like, and I actually asked this person, I said, did you actually look up, success stories? They said, no. I'm like, so you immediately went to the negative without even trying to consider the positive. And so I always try to tell people, I said, well, you're already asking the wrong questions. That's where you have to start. You can have all the strategies and all the opportunities in front of you that you want, but unless you're asking the right questions, it's not going to work. You're going to struggle. Like I was there. I struggled for years because I asked the wrong questions. Hey. When I asked the right questions, instant change in my life.
Yeah. For same here, when I took my first real estate course, it was 1 year before I actually did anything, because I had all these what if. What if I make a mistake? What if? And for everyone listening, it's a pretty strong programming we got. It's it's been there for a while. But the good news is now you're aware. And I would say, for you listening, it's probably the missing key to get you started. This program like Brian's with the Elevation Group to get your mind right. And when people come into my training, the first thing we talk about is mindset. You don't want to hear this, but we're going to talk about it, because if you don't get this part right, all this other stuff's going to get discounted by your subconscious.
Yeah, and the one thing too I think is very important is getting excited about the journey. A lot of people, they look and say, okay, I got to go. Whether it's, I want to go invest in real estate, or I got to, start my own business. The first thing that comes in their head is, oh man, I got to go do a lot of work. I'm just like, whoa, this is exciting. You got to get excited about this. And so when I coach students, this is what I always ask them. I said, hey, have you ever been on vacation? And they'll say, yeah, I've been on vacation before. I said, oh, cool. Did you know where you were going? Yeah. Did you know how you're getting there? Well, of course. Did you know how long you're going to be gone for? Yeah. So you knew what you're going to wear, like if it's sunny or is it, snow? Like, yeah, of course. I said, were you excited about it? Yeah. Okay, great. How about if I tell you you're going to go on vacation next month, but you don't know where you're going, how long, when you're going to leave, how you're going to get there, or how much vacation time you got to take off? Then I said, does that sound exciting? They're saying, well, no, not really. Actually, they're kind of a little, and I said, are you a little bit worried about your job? Yeah, because I don't know how long I'm going to be gone for. I said, okay. That's how most people approach trying to create wealth or financial freedom, right there. And so, So when you have that analogy, when you have that map and that plan and know where you're going, it's exciting. And that's what Elevation Group is all about: is making it exciting. Know where you're going and have fun with it. Because when you do, stuff happens. It happens because you're excited about it. You're going to take action. You know you're going to have success, and that's a very different place to be in than pretty much everybody else around you.
I love this architecture you got, Brian. I love this. I love this whole principle, this whole system you've got. So what's on the? You're a visionary guy. You get it. What's the vision for Elevation Group? Where are you taking this? Where's it going?
So we're always going to be learning new strategies, because the one thing I don't like is that a lot of people will teach you one strategy, and then 2 years from now it doesn't work as well because the markets have changed. The economy is a little bit different. And so my mission, my journey is never going to end. I'm always finding out what's the next thing. What's this person doing? Okay, today you're doing gold and silver. What are you doing in 2 years? Bring them back. Learn the new thing they're doing. Always be bringing them to our board of advisors so that our community can continue to always grow. And so we're always building up our membership. We're always bringing in new strategies and opportunities. And then, we'll be doing some live events eventually as well. We're going to be bringing these advisors so people can actually meet with them, in person if they want to, have direct access to them. We have some, for people that are really serious, we actually bring them into, our elite group where we actually get on the phones with the advisors one-on-one, and we can actually, get real coaching from them that is to someone's situation. So we actually have some higher level stuff there as well. But we're always learning new things and building this brand up, building up our business and our community so we can all grow together. Because that's what I get a kick out of, is that, having people come in, have success, but staying with us, saying, okay, what's next? Because there's always a next thing. Like I always say, retirement is a BS word. I'm not going to retire.
I agree.
Entrepreneurs don't care about retirement. Retirement is a myth. It is a myth, because guess what? If you're having fun in your life and what you're doing, retirement is like that sucks. It sounds boring, right? And so that's where I'm going.
So you started Elevation Group, or you got involved with Elevation Group after the Great Recession. Did I get that right? It was after.
Yep.
And then you got your licks during the recession, right?
Oh yeah, I got
everyone else.
Oh yeah.
So here's my question: if you'd been part of the Elevation Group prior to the recession and had that mindset and skill set prior to everything caving in on us, how do you think your results would have been different?
It would have been incredible. Yeah, because there are some of our advisors that their wealth tripled in the couple years after 2008. It's tripled just by using a couple strategies that we actually teach. One of them being elevation banking as an example. So just imagine in 2010, and you had access to capital. You didn't have to worry about the banks. You had access to capital to buy real estate at stupid discounted prices.
Yep.
Cash flowing real estate, mind you, as well. You could have bought it at a half the price or a third the price that it was 2 years ago. Imagine that. So if I'd known that, it would have been incredible. Also, if I'd had access to this information, I would not have had a job. I would not have been an employee for as long as I was. I would guarantee I would not have been one, because the other thing that I would have done is I would have had multiple businesses. Because businesses, I never thought of myself as being a business owner. I never even thought of that concept. But there is not one successful advisor that we have that doesn't own more than or less than 3 businesses. They have multiple sources of income coming in from all different areas. I didn't even comprehend that. And my brother Jake and I, we started up our 4th or 5th or whatever it was business here about 6 months ago with, as a side business. It was kind of a little side thing, a little side project. We put a little bit of capital towards it, and it's already it's a high 6-figure revenue business already. It'll be a 7-figure business of 2019. And that's just a side business, because there's so many opportunities to do things like that you don't realize are even out there until you get into that right circle. And so if I'd had access to this circle years ago, I would have been able to catapult my wealth, 10 times faster.
Yeah, that's super. That's super. And so everyone, I'm sharing this with you because I believe I know Brian is spot on everything he's saying here, and it's a function of creating opportunities in your lives. But you have the right mindset, number one. But then you got to know how to do it properly, have the right people guiding you. And I tell you, it's an incredible feeling of control in your life when you see all the opportunities available, as opposed to being tied to this 9-to-5 job, and my fate is solely a function of how well this company's prospering. And this company's going down the tubes, it takes it with me. No, forget that. let's get over here involved with Brian in the Elevation Group where you got the whole world and opportunities. This opportunity starts slowing down. Fine, we'll switch over here. I've already got 3 or 4 already running. One of them's winding down. Great. Well, I still got 2 or 3 to bank on. It is a total feeling of control. Would you agree with that, Brian?
Oh, 100%. I remember there was a time, this is years ago now, I had a nice wooden box. This is sitting on my desk, and I put something in that box. This was like, years before that. I put something in that box, and it took me 3 years to open that box open again before I could open it back up again. And when I did, what was inside there is I had written on a piece of paper, "You're fired." That's what I had written. And it was me firing myself from my 9-to-5 job. And so I put that seed in place about 3 years before. And I remember that day. I remember that day when I opened up that box and I said, "You're fired." And it was one of the best days of my life. But I planted that seed. I knew that's where I would be. I knew 100% that I would succeed at that. And that was an incredible feeling when I made that decision. And then I saw it come to fruition and when I opened that box. And so for anybody that's listening, that's what I want to get across, is that you will succeed. You will have success. It's just the taking action, the right path, the right access, and the right knowledge, and you can do it. It's actually simpler and easier than you think. And first thing you have to believe in first off is yourself, that you can do it. And when you do that, what you can do is unlimited.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Brian, this has been fantastic. Listen, you got a great thing you're doing, a great program, the Elevation Group. Now, you've got some free stuff you were sharing me up front for our listeners. You got a wealth blueprint and an investor profile. Can you tell them about this and what you got for them?
Yeah, so the investor profile is one that we created a couple years back, and it was really cool because I was seeing people struggle with opportunities. They would try to become an investor in a single family, doing fix and flips as an example, or they would try to invest in a business, and they would struggle. And yet their neighbor, they would tell me this, my neighbor is having success doing the same thing, yet he's not that bright. I'm like, well, it's because he knows who he is. He knows his skill sets, right? And he doesn't have the same obstacles you do. And so I started seeing these different patterns, and I realized a lot of people are trying to do strategies that don't fit with who they are as a person. And so what we did is we said, okay, let's look at what people are good at, what they're not good at, their strengths and weaknesses, and we developed a profile for investors. And so we call the 5 profiles. And so it's a little profile quiz you take that can give you an idea of who you are as an investor, your strengths and your weaknesses, so that when you look at opportunities, you can say, hey, is this something that I'm probably going to have success with, or am I going to struggle with it? And so a lot of investors have come back to us and said, man, I'm so glad I took that, because someone came to me with an opportunity and I was like, no, I should probably not do that. Or they said, yeah, I realized that I'd probably be pretty good at this thing over here that I was ignoring. And so that's called our investor profile. It's a great one. So yeah, I definitely want to make sure that people have access to that one, because it can really help you as an investor. And then our checklist, this one is something that my brother Jake and I developed over years when we started seeing that there's more to financial independence than most people realize. And most financial advisors won't even tell you about most of the stuff that you should have in place that can help you create wealth, keep it, protect it, and grow it, all those things. And so what we did is we brought all of our advisors together, and we created a comprehensive, call it a blueprint or checklist of your financial life that'll give you, when you go through this thing, it doesn't take long, go through it. It'll give you a snapshot of where you're at right now, but also help you in knowing what steps and actions to take tomorrow, next week, next month, to have a better blueprint in place to have success with building your wealth.
So everyone, let me give you, we'll put these on the show notes. Let me give you some websites right now where you can get access. These are great. Both of them are fabulous. And the first one, the investor profile, you'll go to greenlightreinvesting.com/profile, greenlightreinvesting.com/profile. And for the checklist with the blueprint, greenlightreinvesting.com/blueprint, greenlightreinvesting.com/blueprint. We're going to put this on the show notes as well, so you'll have it there if you, either way, you can get access. But I take advantage of these resources. These are great resources that Brian's make available to you, and get involved with the Elevation Group and what work Brian's doing. I think it's a fabulous platform. Brian, this has been super. I really want to commend the work that you're doing. I think you're spot on with the Elevation Group. I think it's architected right. I think your focus is right. I think you're spot on. So congratulations and kudos, man. Good job.
Appreciate it, Lance. And appreciate the opportunity to share this with everybody.
Oh, it's been a joy, absolute joy. And I thank you for your time and sharing with everybody listening today. So there it is. Get involved with Brian and his brother Jake over at the Elevation Group. And go to the show notes, because show notes, you're going to find them at greenlightreinvesting.com, greenlightreinvesting.com. Take advantage of those free resources plus other free training resources we have you on the archives. We'll have this archive there posted for you as well. Until the next session, this is Lance Edwards with Greenlight REI. Wishing everyone great success in your real estate lifestyle. Take care, everyone.
You've been listening to The Expert with Lance Edwards. Let us now blatantly and shamelessly bribe you toward creating your own real estate lifestyle by offering you a whole bunch of free stuff. Go to greenlightreinvesting.com and get you some free stuff and this session's show notes.